September 1st, 2020. Like you see, it's almost winter break. We're on 1.2, graphs of equations. Here's the objectives that you should be able to do at the end. You should be able to sketch graphs and equations, find intercepts, and find the equations and sketch graphs of circles. Okay, pretty simple stuff. You can take notes as you want, or you can just view it like you're watching TV, because you will have this video and you can take notes from it later if you want. What about the graph of an equation? The first thing I want to ask you is, what is meant by the solution of an equation? Does anybody know that? Ashley?
Something that makes the equation true.
That is perfect. It's what makes the equation true. And I mean, to be even more specific, the solution of any math sentence, like an inequality, is whatever makes the sentence true. It's the set of all things that make the sentence true is the solution set. Okay? Does anybody need me to explain that in more detail? Does that make sense? So like x plus 2 equals 10. There's lots of answers, but only one solution. X plus 2 equals 10. The answer that is the solution is x equals 8. How do you sketch the graph of an equation by point plotting? Anybody know? What do we mean by point plotting? Well, we basically mean to make a table. And if you look in the book, there's good examples about how to go over making a table. You're going to make an x and y column, and you can choose whatever numbers you want for x, and then graph your equation. Now, let me get out of this for a second and show you. If you have something like a parabola, when you choose your values for the x and y, it's good to find that point where the axis of symmetry is and make that the middle of your table. I'm going to put 3 here because I know 3 is my axis of symmetry. My vertex is 3, 1. I can just put it there. And that's my middle x. So I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to go down 1, down 1. And I'm going to plug these numbers in and find out what my y value will be. If I plug in 4, I get 4 minus 3 squared, which is 1, plus 1 is 2. And since it's symmetric, these are the same. If I put in 5, 5 minus 3 is 2, squared is 4, plus 1, 5. And it's symmetric. And I know some of you know the plus 1, plus 3, plus 5, plus 7 thing. I understand that too. I'm just not going to go over that right now. Now we graph it and start with your vertex and start plotting the other points. So here's my axis of symmetry. If I do 2, 2, then I know on the other side I also have 2. I have 1, 5. And I know if I go 1 over, I have that 5 as well. And I have my parabola through point plotting. Okay. Any questions? Thumbs up if you get it. Easy? Okay, good. Let me go back to sharing that tab now. Okay. How do you find the intercepts of a graph? So I have that graph earlier, y equals x minus 3 squared plus 1. Does anyone know how to find the intercepts of a graph like that? Okay, well, let's go over it. I'm going to find first the y-intercepts, and then I'm going to find the x-intercepts. Okay. To find the y-intercept, we let x equal 0 and solve. So y equals 0 minus 3 squared plus 1. That's 9 plus 1, 10. And I write my y-intercept as 0, 10. To find my x-intercepts, if any, we let y equal 0. So 0 equals x minus 3 squared plus 1. And we solve. Take the 1 across. I get x minus 3 squared equals negative 1. And I can see right now, if I take the square root of both sides, I get an error over here. So there are no x-intercepts. And I can see that from my graph earlier. Let me move it up. Look at my parabola. It never crosses the x-axis. So to summarize, to find the y-intercept, let x equal 0 and solve. To find the x-intercepts, let y equal 0 and solve. Why do I write y-intercept? Why can we not have two y-intercepts? Why can we not have two or more y-intercepts for this graph? I'll answer that for you. This is a polynomial function. And if you have a function, you cannot have more than one y-intercept. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a function. Now, later today, we're going to get circles where you can have two y-intercepts. A circle is not a function. Okay? Parabolas are quadratic functions. Does anyone have a question? I'll wait one more moment while you're copying your notes, whatever you want from there. Once again, this will be available later on the video if you need to see it again. I'm going to continue unless somebody raises their hand to say pause. Okay. Back to the slides. And here we go. Let's talk about circles. You know the definition of a circle? What is the definition of a circle? Rodrigo, what's the definition of a circle?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, how would you describe it? Just try to put in your own words. I'm on the phone with you. Hey, Rodrigo, I don't get the homework. What the heck's a circle? How would you explain it to me?
I would tell them to ask somebody else because I don't know.
Really?
Yes.
I don't have any other friends other than Rodrigo, though. Let's ask somebody, though. Go ahead. Who are you going to ask? Ask anyone in our class.
Emmanuel, what is a circle?
Emmanuel, what is a circle? And now the rest of you are knowing that you better look it up on Google if you don't have a definition, because he's going to ask somebody else. Emmanuel, what's a circle?
I would tell Rodrigo that a circle is a shape with a 360-degree angle.
360-degree angle. All right. Well, check this out. Okay. And Rodrigo, next time somebody needs your help and asks you that, you need to have Google handy and just look it up for them because they're depending on you. But here's the actual geometry definition. Okay. A circle is the set of all points equidistant from a point called the center. Okay. That means that you start with a point and then you pick a radius and you go outwards and you go in a circle. Now, I should have said in a plane because the definition, the way it's written right there, is a sphere. That's an entire ball in 3D. I have to say, well, we're only looking at the plane. And so to find the equation of a circle, we use the distance formula. Okay? And I'm going to do this for you right now. So let me hit the stop. And I'm going to go back to my paper. And tell me if it makes sense. So So what that said a minute ago was given x comma y and distance r. Let me change this to h comma k because that's what we use for the center of circles usually. Given h comma k and distance r, find all x comma y that are distance r from h comma k. Okay? So you start with a given, then I need to find all these. So let me graph it real quick. I have some point h comma k, and I have a radius r. I want to find all possible x comma y's, all possible solutions where the distance is going to be r. Well, we know from our distance formula that the distance is delta x squared plus delta y squared. And that means, let me change the d to an r. R equals, and I'm going to do the distance now using these 2 points. The difference of the x's is x minus h squared. The difference of the y's is y minus k squared. If I square both sides now, I get the standard equation of a circle, which is r squared equals x minus h squared, y minus k squared. That's it. That's a circle. Let's see how this works in action. Okay? Compare this to this. What is the center of the circle? I need h and k to get the center of the circle. What are h and k going to be? Go ahead, guess. You can put it in the chat box if you want to guess there. H equals what? K equals what? And then tell me the radius. If you can only do one of those parts, go ahead and put that in. I'm going to write this equation underneath. Maybe that'll help you. Looks good. So h is going to be 3 and k is going to be -5. So this is our center. Yeah? And what's the radius going to be? Compare them. What's the radius going to be? Okay, let's start calling on people. Angel, what's the radius going to be?
It's gonna be 5.
Yes, sir. Do you guys have any questions on this? Can you do a harder one? How about x plus 1 squared plus y squared equals 42? What's the center of this one? Let's go with Luke. Luke, what's the center?
The center is H is 1 and K is 0.
Very close. When you have a plus 1 here, we have to change that to a minus negative 1. So it's going to be negative 1, comma 0. You can think what makes this 0 and what makes this 0. The number I can substitute here to make this 0 is negative 1. The number to substitute here would be 0. Now, what is our radius here? Mauro. Mauro, is there any reason your camera's not on?
Oh no, I thought it was on. I joined it
Okay.
with the on. I had to get it turned
Okay. What's the radius here? Do you have any idea?
on. No, I'm not sure.
Okay, let's go back to what we did earlier. And how did they get the radius was 5 when you compare the equations here? What did they do to 25
The
to
square
get
root.
Okay, so what are we going to do here with this
The
thing?
Square root.
There you go. So there's your radius. You could simplify it if necessary or convert to a decimal, but that's the square root. Okay? Do you understand these? Any questions? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Okay, so we pretty much get them. Let's go back to the slides. Here we go. And there's your general equation of a circle, as stated before. And we're going to do a few problems now. Do you have your hand up, Ashley? Was that your hand up? Okay. Let's do a lesson check. Is this a solution of 8x, y equals 8x minus 5? Give me a thumbs up for yes. Give me a thumbs down for no. Okay. The answer is no, because when you substitute negative 2 for x and 4 for y, you get a false equation. You can see it right there. 4 does not equal 8 times 4 minus 5. How about sketching this graph using a table? What points should you use in your table? What is your axis of symmetry? Does anyone know the axis of symmetry here? Well, you'd have to put it into vertex form, if you will. And I'm going to stop the slides and just do that real quick. So it looks like we have y equals 1 minus x squared, right? And normally we want the x up front, the x squared. And I kind of want it to look more like the real vertex form, which is this. So I know that I have a negative 1 in front of this x squared thing. And if there's nothing next to x squared, it's x minus 0. I can see my axis of symmetry now right here is 0. So when I do my table, I want that to be the middle of my table. And I can put this point, this exact point in my table, 0, 1. Go up 1, go down 1, and up another, and down another. Now plug these in for x. Negative 1 times 1 squared plus 1 gives me 0. This is symmetric about my axis of symmetry. That must be 0 as well. You can check it. Let's plug in 2. 2 minus 0 squared is 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Plus 1, negative 3. And I've gone kind of fast on these, but you can verify them on your own at your own pace. And here's my points I get. Everyone take 10 seconds to go ahead and sketch a quick graph of this. And then I'm going to show you the answer on the screen. The points once again were -2, -3, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 2, -3. Here's the graph now. You can see it on the screen. It's upside down, opens downward, if you will. You can see these two intercepts, perfect. -1, 0, and 1, 0. And then you've got 2, what is this, -3, and -2, -3. Any questions on plotting these using a table? Let's continue. Okay, what is the equation of the circle whose radius is 10 and whose center is x minus 3? Type your answer into the chat box. Use a caret for squareds. I'm not picky about how you express it as long as it's correct. Go ahead, I'm looking for your answers in the chat box. You can leave it in factored form. Do you need help on this one? Okay. They're looking right. Okay. Here's the answer up on my screen. There's how you show the work. X minus -3 squared, x minus 2 squared equals 10 squared, or after simplifying it, and that is a mistake, I'm telling you right now. This 9 should not be there. That should be +3. +3. So let me see. Yeah, that can't be fixed right now. Then again, it can. I'm going to do it. 3. There we go. Present. Fixed. Instantly fixed. Okay. Continuing on. The diameter of a circle has endpoints 6, 2, and 10, -2. Find the equation of the circle and put it in the chat bar. So what are the two things we need for a circle? Well, we need a center and we need a radius. And for okay, and I'm going to go to the paper for this one. 10, -2, and 6, 2. How do we find the center of this circle? Type it in the chat bar. How do we find the center of the circle? Midpoint is correct. So what is the center? Okay. So the midpoint is going to be 10 plus 6 over 2, 2 plus negative 2 over 2. That makes the center 8, 0. So I have this part of my equation so far. I have to find the radius now. How do we find the radius? You can type it in the chat box if you want. How do we find the radius? Yes? How about Kylie? Kylie, tell me how to find the radius.
Do you have to find the distance between the center and one of the points?
Sounds good. So I will use the one with the, I'll use the 6, 2, okay? So the distance is square root of delta x squared, delta y squared. And delta x squared is from 8 to 6, it's 2. Delta y squared from 0 to 2, it's 2. That's going to give me radical 8. That's not diameter, that's the distance, which is actually the radius. Okay. Now I don't need to simplify this because out here, I'm going to put r squared anyways. So there's going to be an 8 there. And I'm going to go back to this screen. All set? Okay. And does that look like the answer? The y minus 0 becomes just y squared? What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways? Do you understand this? It's good? Okay. Find the x-intercept of y equals 2x minus 41. This is a line, so it's only going to have one x-intercept. Let's call on somebody. Let's call on Jessica A. What do you get for the x-intercept?
Uh, 41 over 2 and then 0.
41 over 2 and then 0. Okay, let's see what my answer comes out to be. I get 41 over 2, just like you said, but, well, that's it. 41 over 2, comma 0. Be sure if you say and, that means plus. You can also do a decimal, just like I said. Good. And now let's find the y-intercept of this. This is a parabola. It's a function, so it's only going to have one y-intercept. And I will call on somebody again. Let's go with Raul.
11.
11. How would you express it in an ordered pair?
0, 11.
That is what I should have gotten. You can see I got an 11 here. I'm going to fix this right now again, so it looks good when if I hand out these. 11. Whoop, there we go. 0, 11 is correct. Okay, that's the end of our lesson right now. I'm going to go ahead and give you the homework to get started on. And let me stop the video right now.